Thank you for continuing to listen to Tales from the Video Store. Why don't you stop by our Patreon page, become a Patreon, because let me tell you, inflation right now is one big fat gold digging bitch. Now sit back, get your sunglasses, grab a box of toothpicks. It is Lee Bridges, Garrick Lane, Doug Wall, and River Lane. It's Tales from the Video Store. And again, make sure you visit our Patreon page. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, come on, Dan.
Okay, I'm going. Okay. Welcome back to the Video Store. I'm here with Garrick. Nope, that's not right.
Jesus.
Technically, you are there with yourself.
I am with myself, and I just wrote an autobiography. I'm thinking about podcasting. Welcome back to the Video Store. I'm here with Doug, River, and Lee, man, and we are on number 123. And to start this off, we've got some deaths. Anne Hesh literally drove drunk as hell, high on cocaine, drove her Tesla straight to hell this last week.
I don't think she was driving a Tesla. I think she was driving a Mini, is what I saw.
I thought it was an electrical. They showed some footage from Ray's cameras, and I could hear the sound of the electrical like a golf cart through the neighborhood.
I missed that clip.
Yeah, I'll put it up. I'll post it up. If it's online somewhere, I'll post it up. But you can hear it kind of go through like a freaking golf cart on steroids. She like just
a 3,000-pound golf cart.
It's kind of like that.
Brilliant.
It's crazy. It's kind of eerie. Have you ever seen those? The one, and this is in no way am I trying to be an asshole here, but it is kind of eerie. Have you seen the Ring footage of the Kobe Bryant helicopter crash? You don't see the helicopter, you just hear it kind of boom, and then you hear the explosion. But the shot, just the way it is, and this one's the same way. It's like, it's just the freaking doorbell camera, and you just see, there's some bushes, and you just see this thing. It's like George Jetson. It sounds like George Jetson. It goes right across the screen. Crazy, and then seconds later, she's dead.
No, I don't. I don't look for Ring videos. That's fucking weird. Man, that's weird, dude.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna show it to you.
I don't know what's weirder, whoever's posting them or the guys that are watching them.
It's the news.
Oh,
it's
God.
the news, but it's like I'm telling you, she just putters right by like George Jetson, and then she's done. Just like that, done. You know, I actually like Anne Hesh. Some of her movies were good. Like, I like the 6 Days and 7 Nights or whatever it was. Of course, I like Harrison Ford, so that was good. I mean, she had some.
I thought she was good in Donnie Brasco.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Very good in Donnie Brasco. I thought she was also very good in the Psycho remake. Might have been the best part of it.
There was nothing good about the Psycho remake.
I thought for her part she was fine.
It was shot for shot, like Alfred Hitchcock's.
Well, almost.
Here.
You can actually hear it.
It's like, sew! It wasn't many. You were right, I was wrong.
Do you remember that part in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles where Steve Martin looks over at John Candy and he's fucking Satan? That is exactly what Garrick looked like when I just looked over at him. He just did the Planes, Trains, and Automobile John Candy better than John Candy did it in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Alright, shit, moving on. Well, are we done with that, Ash? She had some good roles.
We are now.
Yes,
Yes, well, she's definitely-
Let's get away from that.
She's definitely done with Anne Hesh. All right, well, Wolfgang Peterson,
Yeah, another great one.
another great director, didn't drink a bunch of alcohol and do a bunch of cocaine and drive through a suburban neighborhood. Passed away from old age. What was it? This just happened. Like,
1981.
it just happened hours ago.
Yeah.
Air Force One, what a great movie. Das Boot.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah, great director.
Enemy
My
Mine.
favorite story is apparently when they were making Troy, Peter O'Toole hated him. And just yelled that he was a talentless crap the entire time. And apparently he just Wolfgang Peterson just ignored it. It's like, Peter O'Toole would just let me yelling profanity at him. He would just be like, whatever, I'm making $10 million.
Yeah, you just move along, O'Toole.
Yeah, but, very, very cool director.
I feel like I'm missing somebody. Who else passed away this last week?
I'm thinking about nobody.
Passed away. DC Universe passed away. Discovery Plus walked in and gave them the guillotine.
But until they immediately started up again. I mean,
Yeah.
they really just hit the reset button like on a router.
Yeah, like
It's not like they're not gonna do it.
right, but I know we were supposed to do this. We were supposed to do this podcast last week, and now we're behind. So this is completely done film, and got a big new owner comes in, walks in, and what's his name?
While we're on the subject, what about Ezra Miller just coming up and saying I'm sorry, and it just being squashed? Like the guy was apparently running a cult in Iceland. He strangled some woman in Hawaii, and he just was like, my bad, and everybody was just like, okay, man.
Yeah, they're like, hey, he's like, hey, comes home, he goes, hey, I'm gonna put myself in rehab, and I'm really sorry, and everybody's like, well, we've already got $1 billion invested in you, so we're just gonna sweep this under the rug here.
Yeah, whereas the girl who was playing Batgirl, like when she got cast, she immediately started showing up at children's hospitals.
Oh, yes.
Just as Batgirl, and she gets fired. Whereas this guy's just running around choking people, and they're like, I'm sure boys will be boys.
Yeah, he's young. He's just young. He's like Robert Downey Jr. when he was young. He'll come around. Everything's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah, they're just like, listen, we already shot the movie.
Yes, we've got to figure out a way. They probably called in the extra PR guys. A couple extra PR persons. Somebody cover this up.
Yeah. But as far as the DC Universe, all they need to do is give George Miller $300 million. And he can come back with a Justice League movie and just start from there.
Yeah.
Have George just say, do whatever you want with a bunch of... Have him gaggle up his army of redneck Australian stuntmen and, whatever. And from there on, it's done.
Well, what's he? He just finished a movie, didn't he?
Yeah, there's a movie's coming out that 3,000 years ago.
Yeah.
It's
a werewolf movie, isn't it?
No, it's about Idris Elba plays a genie. It looks very strange.
Oh, I'm thinking of a different movie then. Yeah, that's crazy, huh?
Yeah. It's weird that he has this movie coming out that is not being advertised, really.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's weird he's doing a movie that doesn't pertain to, 4 tires and motors. And...
Well, now he's shooting the
Furiosa.
The Furiosa prequel as we speak.
Yeah, I know. To say, he's
in between that, he made this movie where Idris Elba plays a genie.
That nobody's talking about.
That nobody's talking about, and they were probably, but he does that. Like he did those tap dancing penguin movies. Yeah. Happy Feet. He's that type of guy. I think he just gets obsessed with stuff. Like penguins. It's all about penguins. Because he still has his medical license. He's still a doctor.
So when he's not, So when he's not doctoring, when he's out working on women's vaginas or men's colon cancer, he's shooting like some of the most incredible stunt scenes ever.
Right. I was watching an interview with Edgar Wright, and he said they were somewhere at some premiere, and George Miller was there, and Edgar Wright said he had like the flu or a cold or something, and said George Miller just walked up, started looking at him, and then just like talked to him for a few, and then like took out his prescription pad on the red carpet. It was just like, here, take this, you'll be fine. And he was just like, okay, and he said he was right. Like 2 days later, he felt amazing.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. He's a very interesting guy.
What if I met him and was dragging on my editing? He'd give me a prescription of Adderall.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, George, man, I just want to cut some of your Fury Road, man. But I'm getting a little tired, man. Can I get something from you? Can I get something? I end up like Anne Hesh.
Somebody be watching a Ring video.
Yeah, somebody had their own Ring video.
Oh, jeez. Well, yeah, I mean,
Olivia Newton-John.
Yes, Olivia Newton-John died.
Yes.
I completely forgot about that.
I know this is the kind of podcast that nobody gives a shit about Olivia Newton-John, but I just want to say, when she was in Grease, I had the biggest crush on her ever. She was so fine.
Yes.
Doug, have you ever even seen Grease?
Celebrities you never
Not
heard
that I know of.
Yeah, you don't strike me as a Grease kind of guy.
No, I avoid musicals.
Yeah, you look like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you look in the dictionary under masculinity, there's a picture of Doug holding a Guinness.
It's just,
And
I mean, look.
And he's spitting going, I don't watch musicals.
I've tried to do it. Look, I thought that there was maybe a chance I could get through The Demon Barber of Fleet Street.
Oh, it's a fucking classic.
I was
That's
mistaken.
one of my movies I watched this week.
I was mistaken.
Really? You can't get through
In a
Sweeney
movie
Todd?
about murder, or like a show thing about murder was not enough to keep me in. I just don't care. Maybe if, like, in a theater would be different. On film, it's a different experience, not the same thing.
River's never seen Grease either.
I mean, I've seen parts of it.
But
He
speaking,
knows who John Travolta is.
Well, of course.
Maybe.
but speaking of musicals, Joker 2 just got confirmed to be a musical with Lady Gaga. Are you gonna be watching that?
Oh, man. You just had to ruin my whole fucking day, didn't you?
What's weird is it's costing $150 million.
Wait,
And
it is
takes place-
it's a musical?
Yeah, it's a musical
It's a
with
musical.
Lady Gaga.
Yeah, she's gonna play. I guess the Joaquin Phoenix Joker version of Harley Quinn.
But Todd Phillips said it's not going to be like, they're not going to be singing too much. It's just going to be like very like filled with pretty much like the first Joker, but there's going to be singing every now and then. But it's not technically like a hardcore.
It's not going to be like a song after song after song.
Yeah,
It's not
no,
going to be like they finish one song and then they talk for 2 minutes and then they break into another song.
Yeah.
Todd Phillips was going through the Scorsese movies he could plagiarize for this movie. And he was like, did that one. And then he just came to New York, and he was like, fuck it. I guess I gotta do it.
It's almost like he's under contract to do it. That's
He was
what
like,
it feels
this
like.
is the color of money, and pool makes no sense. So, fuck.
Well, what's amazing is how many people, you either really love Lady Gaga or you really hate Lady Gaga. Like, I've seen all the ratings.
Yeah, I mean, she's fine.
She's fine, yeah, and I don't even think I don't think she's a bad actress or anything like that. I'm sure that Gucci movie was watchable, maybe. Didn't you watch it, Lee? I think.
I did watch it, yeah.
I thought about trying it until I saw the runtime on Prime. It's on Prime, and I thought, you know
better
what?
off.
I don't think I could really even do this. But she's not.
She's not a deal breaker.
Her being in it isn't bad to me. It's just when you say it's a quote unquote musical, that just I'm just not really.
I'm gonna assume that will be like in Joaquin's head.
Or hers.
Yeah, they're not going to do it outright because it won't match the consistency of the first one.
Because I know he's going to be in an insane asylum, and it'll just. I think the song and dance numbers will be like in his mind.
Okay.
I assume. I don't know.
It might be. It might be great.
I feel like that would make it a lot better if they were in his mind than changing.
Yeah.
Okay, Lee, you need to write it. You're
Well, if you still got the 150 million they're gonna use to make it, I will.
right. Yeah, isn't that the truth?
1%.
And with that, we'll jump into. Has anybody seen the Better Call Saul show?
No.
I haven't either. Are you? So we have 4 people in
I
this
watched
room.
the first 3 episodes and I fell off.
Isn't that crazy? Everybody's talking about the finale, the series finale last night. I have not watched one episode. I watched the pilot of Breaking Bad, and I've not watched one of Better Call Saul.
I recently just finished Breaking Bad. I don't know about you, but I think it's the greatest show of all time. I don't know. It's just something about it.
That's what everybody
It's a
says.
very good show.
It was very good, but
It's not True Detective good.
well, like we were talking last week about these like origin stories. It's the same. It's like you're taking an element away when the main character you absolutely know no matter what is going to be fine. Like especially when he's like a dirty lawyer dealing with all these drug dealers and whatever else is in Better Call Saul. I just think it kind of ruins it a little bit when you know that he's going to come out clean on the other side.
Well, how do you know that, Ty?
Well, because it takes place before Breaking Bad.
Oh.
Yeah, it does. And then the season 6 ends in the Breaking Bad timeline at the beginning
So
of
there
the
you
first season of Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Who is this guy?
You've created a Frankenstein. I love it.
Don't be
Did you
hating.
guys see the thing about the movie Fall?
No, sounds
It's a movie
interesting.
called
What is it?
Fall, and it was shot rated R, and they went back and instead of reshooting scenes to make it PG-13, they digitally changed the actors' faces with deepfake technology.
Oh.
This deep fake stuff's insane, man. I saw one the other day that's had Paris Hilton's husband did it with Tom Cruise, and it looks like, I'm like, what? How is that? That's like incredible.
Yeah. And apparently they did this, and that movie went from an R because it had like 30 F-bombs, and they just scanned the actors' faces saying an alternate line, and they just put it on their head. So, I don't know. It seems kind of weird. I don't know if
Guy, it seems like it would probably have been cheaper to reshoot it.
You would think so, but come to find out, the director of the movie is the co-CEO of the deepfake company.
Ah.
So, I think that has something to do with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But it's just I don't know, just as a, think about making a movie, like being able to just not reshoot it, just sort of digitally gloss over it, where you can change a performance, you can change I don't know. That just seems kind of like a slippery slope right there.
I don't much care for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, that's all I have to say about that.
Are you going to watch House of Dragons Sunday? Are you as excited as I am?
Not really.
Really?
I forgot it was even coming
I'm
on.
so
Fuck you
corrupted,
guys.
Doug.
Whatever.
I like Game of Thrones, but I'm just telling you, man, that last couple of seasons it made me just kind of not care, and why should I give a fuck about this? I mean, will I watch it at some point? Absolutely, but I've gotten to the age where I can't sit and watch an episode and then wait a week. So I might check it out in a few months when it's concluded, the season's concluded, so I can sit down and watch it. The only show that I've watched recently where I watch it the day that it comes out is The Boys, and you don't know anything about it, so.
Yeah, that's on my list, but I haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah.
It's been too busy to watch.
And unless it is like a short show, like a mini series, these like 10, 12, 15 episode seasons of whatever the show is, and you have to wait a week, like, I just don't have time for that. By the time I'm at the end, I've forgotten the beginning. I need to watch them, like,
all together, so you can
as much as I can.
obtain it all.
Well, yeah. That way it prevents me from having to go back and watch it, like, 3 or 4 times, which is what you've had to do in the past with shows like that, like you do with Sopranos or whatever it is you're watching that week. I'm over that. It's like, if you can't just give it all to me, then...
Well, I read the book, and it's going to be interesting to see. The book is a lot of, like, lore.
Book of what?
The book of what this is based on. Fire and Ice. The House of Dragons is based on a book that he wrote.
Lee's giving me mythology.
But anyway...
You need, like, a big fucking mute button. Okay. Look... Or like the button. I mean, look, I know.
I was gonna go with Ogre screaming "nerd" from Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah, there you go.
Every time he mentions Game of Thrones, I could just hit it.
I'll check it out eventually, but it's gonna have to hit quick because I don't have time for dragging it out like Thrones did at times.
Yeah, well, I mean, the book is strange because it's a lot of, like, bouncing around and talking about different people, and it's kind of sometimes hard to kind of follow. So I don't know how they're gonna do this standard narration, but we'll see. I'm excited nonetheless.
I'm sure it'll look great.
This guy's never seen Game of Thrones either.
Well,
No, I watched the final battle with you. Let me watch it. Carrie almost didn't let me, but Dad stepped in. But one thing I'm super mad about, which is not really news, I just need to get it out to somebody because none of my friends are movie people, so I can't talk about it to anybody. So, Austin Butler, aka Elvis, just got cast in the Dune Part 2. I mean, I love Dune, and I love Austin Butler as Elvis, but I don't know, it made me mad. I just gotta get that out, sorry.
But he's not, what is he? Is he gonna be...
He's gonna be one of the main characters.
He'll just be somebody in it, man. It won't matter because Villanueva is pulling the strings. Yeah. It'll be dope. Yeah. Don't even worry about it. Like,
I mean, I loved Dune, but...
Oh, I did too. Yeah, I'm not even... They could cast Garrick in it, and I would still be
since
excited.
My baby left me, since I'm down on this desert...
Not worried about
with
it
my gun in hand... A couple of mechanical caterpillars popped into the goddamn sand, and now I'm fucking back in the dune, and I'm fucking back in the dune.
Oh, God, the wheels are so... Like, this thing's scraping across the fucking asphalt with sparks flying everywhere.
Speaking of wheels coming off, Vincent Gallo's...
Lee's favorite filmmaker of all time.
Lee, why don't you This guy makes 3 pretentious movies. He's blackballed from Hollywood, and then he makes this crazy announcement after nobody even remembers who. Hey, River, who's Vincent Gallo?
I had to ask Doug. I mean,
case in point, nobody even knows who he is, and he says that he's never going to show his movies again. What does that even mean? Does anybody even want to see those pieces of shit?
Look,
if I had to
the guy's a psychopath, obviously. I mean, anybody that saw Brown Bunny can attest that the dude is off the fucking reservation. However, I still like Buffalo 66 because I enjoyed it when it came out. Looking back, and I did watch it in the last couple of years, I still found a lot of parts of it that I really liked. But whatever this thing is that he's doing about not letting anybody see what he's doing, that sounds okay to me. And Lee made a joke earlier saying he wanted to buy him a steak dinner. And Garrick chimed in and said, he's probably vegan, and that works too, right? So Vincent Gallo, I mean, I guess you're the douchebag of the week.
He is definitely the douchebag of the week.
He makes Jared Leto look like Mr. fucking Rogers.
He does. I would actually rather watch Gummo again than to watch Brown
Could you
Bunny.
imagine those two in a room together?
Oh my God.
Wow.
So on Vincent Gallo's merchandise on his website, let's just show.
Is he still listed as a male gigolo?
That's right. For $50,000, ladies only, you can have Vincent Gallo on evenings and weekend escorts. Oh, and wait, it gets better. If you want Vincent Gallo's sperm, it's $1 million a pop. What a fucking douchebag.
Oh, he's the kind of guy that you just...
Let me repeat that for any ladies listening. Vincent Gallo's sperm will only cost you $1 million. Price includes all costs related to one attempt and an in vitro fertilization. A $50,000 value. If the first attempt at in vitro this guy is unsuccessful, purchaser of sperm must pay all medical costs related to additional attempts. This guy's serious.
Is that just him jerking off? Because that's what it sounds like to me.
Mr. Gallo will supply
He is
sperm
the worst ever, man.
He really is the worst ever. This almost ruins Buffalo 66 for me. If Christina Ricci's fine ass wasn't in that movie, I would never watch that movie again either.
She, of course, is my favorite part of the movie.
Yes.
But, god dang. It's a shifter car.
Douchebag! As we break into another musical, Vincent Gallo is a douchebag!
Fucking twat.
Alright, let's get on with this. Holy God, we're already 30 minutes into this thing. Pray! So, we should disclaim everyone. Deep Space Nine or Deep Star 6 or whatever the fuck. What? Lee, help me.
Yeah, we were going to do Deep Star 6. But then it got taken off Amazon, and I didn't want to have everybody rent it.
Because we'd already seen it. Yes, so
Amazon does not on Netflix and stuff. It'll say it'll be on Netflix for 17 more days.
Right.
It gives you sort of the last 30 days. Prime is just let's go.
Yeah.
They've gotten me several times.
And we were a week, so then we missed last week because schedules didn't align, and we were going to do Prey this week anyway, so we just kind of bounced it. So with that said, we've got the new Predator movie, Hulu. Everybody's watched it. Take it away.
Okay, it takes place in 1750 or 1719, excuse me, and I guess what eventually will be like North Dakota, and the Comanche Nation, and this young female, I guess she's about 18, named Naru, is Comanche Indian. She wants to be I almost said Cherokee.
Bleep, 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 bleep. That's all, folks.
It sounded like Anne Hesh's electric car slowed down.
And
Sorry, let's bring it back. Okay, hold on a second, Lee.
I don't think this can be saved. I just don't think it can be saved. We've just ruined the whole thing.
No, we haven't. We're good.
This episode's
It's
destroyed.
the best episode we've ever done. Let's go.
Oh, my God.
All right, go ahead, Lee. We're listening.
And basically, she wants to be a hunter, and her brother is sort of the head of the tribe, doesn't want her to be. And, they're out on a hunting party, and she encounters a predator. Sort of it's a prequel to the original Predator, and basically it's her in this sort of a battle of wits against this predator in the early 1700s. And I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it as well, Lee. The only thing that I wish that they had done is, and we talked about how they offered it in Comanche as one of the language options, and I think that's really cool. But I think that I would have enjoyed the experience more had they just done it in Comanche with English subtitles.
A few years from now, they won't be an issue because they'll be able to deep fake the entire thing.
There you go.
And they can just dub everybody's and move their faces.
I missed. Okay, so I obviously missed the whole Comanche. I looked in the subtitles. What did I do?
No, you got to move. It's like a separate cut of the movie.
Oh, that's why I didn't see it and was like, screw it, I'm just gonna watch it. Was it Comanche? Was it hard to understand?
There's English subtitles. It's that's the first time I've ever heard Comanche spoken.
Was it shot in Comanche or was it shot
they
in English?
dubbed it.
Oh, they dubbed it Comanche. Okay, yeah, it was in English. That's right, because that was my thing was, Yeah, that's right. They shot it in English and dubbed it in Comanche.
Which they
should have swapped it.
They should have done like Apocalypto and
like
shot it in the native tongue, and then
Golden
That might have
Harvest.
been the original plan with Fox, but when Disney bought them, I'm sure they were just like, no, fuck that shit.
Yeah, I think it actually took a lot away from the movie, because when you set up like the dialogue, there were like these weird kind of like little almost modernish jokes and sayings and stuff that they felt like they had to throw in there that were completely unnecessary. I could have just watched this chick and her dog and like the rest of them just do shit, and I would have been happy like I was watching Apocalypto, because I fucking love that movie.
That was a rough movie when it came out.
Well, and one of the biggest reasons is the way that the dialogue is. It's like it is secondary, and that's what it should have been in this. And had it been, I think it would have made the rest of the movie more powerful.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you mean just keep it minimal, like Castaway and freaking where there's not any talking.
Yeah, and there could be dialogue going on, and you not need subtitles for it. It's just, it is what it is. But I thought that what'd you say her name was? Naru,
I think.
Naru. She was great. I mean, she was very convincing. Like some of the scenes with the Predator, we've seen the Predator do predatory stuff for a couple of decades now, so it's hard to come up with new tricks.
I think one thing I did like was that his weapons were, because it's 300 years in the past, his weapons were less advanced.
A little bit more
he didn't have
rudimentary.
Like the shoulder laser.
Yeah.
Like his weapons were kind of shitty.
Yeah.
Compared to the one from '87.
Well, because if he just had the like shoulder cannon, then it's real.
Over, but yeah, like he had the sort of crossbow thing.
Yeah.
I actually appreciate that they said like they were Predator technology, but 300 years ago.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I thought everything was just worked out very well. Like
all the fight scenes were great. I mean, I didn't have any complaints about any of them. I liked the introduction of I guess they were French or Dutch.
I think they're supposed to be French. They had a very strange accent.
I couldn't quite make it out, but I believe it was French. And all of that was really well done. It looked great. It was gory when it needed to be gory. The scene with the bear was awesome.
Yeah.
The Predator was, doing predatory shit. I mean, I enjoyed the hell out of it. I really did.
And it's the most viewed thing it's ever been on Hulu.
There you go.
Yeah. That's probably should have been in theaters, but
Every comic book fan, Predator fan, tuned into that movie.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was good. My only complaint is one that I'll have to hear a bunch of lip for. It just felt like Predator movie. It's the same shit.
Well, if you're gonna watch what did you
want?
Did you want the Predator to like shit diamonds?
Maybe.
Because if you did, then I'm sorry you were disappointed. The Predator's gonna do Predator shit. He's gonna try and kill some people and do it in a bloody way,
right.
and that's what it did.
You're right, and I enjoyed it.
But had he stopped halfway through the movie, took his helmet off, and looked at her, and said, honestly, I don't even fucking like hunting. My dad made me do this shit.
Yeah.
And it's fucking lame.
They're not. They dropped me off. I want to get the fuck out of here. Yeah. I mean, then
and
maybe.
Then it just pops up Finn on the screen. That's Garrick's Predator movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, this is exactly why I was just saying it's just the same shit. But I'm with Lee. I enjoyed the weapons, the backtrack and the weapons. I enjoyed the fight scenes quite a bit. I felt like, I also felt like he was a little more vulnerable than like from the one that came and whipped Schwarzenegger and Cruz's ass.
Well, but here's another thought on that. It may not have mattered the year. It may have just been the Predator wanting to make it fairer. Instead, like, going against soldiers, he brings, like, like a more military-style weapon against these people that have very little in weaponry.
Right.
He goes with stuff that's more on their level. And that is a choice as opposed to 300 years. Which actually makes it, kind of makes more sense. The fact that he wouldn't attack people that weren't threatening to him. You know, because I think it's like for the Predator, it's just about the thrill of it and like having that even battle, as even as you can make it, I guess.
What'd you think?
Well, I was going into it, I was really excited before it even came out because the guy who directed it did 10 Cloverfield Lane, and I really liked that movie. And it also had like newer actors that you haven't really seen in a lot of stuff, so I was really excited for it. But also I was scared because I mean the last Predator movie was god awful, but so
you talking about Predators or
no the Predator,
the Predator. I forgot about that one.
And I went into it. I mean, it's probably the second best Predator movie. It's really, I mean, I feel like they did something way different than any other Predator movie did by making it so old. And you could tell, like when they put the laser on her head, I was just scared that, I mean, that doesn't make much sense if there's lasers back then, but then they made it like this bullet kind of thing, which I thought was really cool. I mean, I had a fun time, but, you know, it was fun. Yes.
You're gonna need Comanche subtitles for that explanation.
You know.
Slow it down a little bit. But so wait, so let me ask you a question then, Riv.
What?
You said it was the best,
The second best.
second best. But so yeah, have you seen Predator 2?
Predator 2. Yeah, I don't like Predator 2.
Oh.
Well,
Coming in hot.
Oh no.
well.
Oh.
That's all right. I mean, you know.
Hey, yeah.
Well, y'all like Predator 2?
You mentioned something about that Cloverfield Lane.
Which one's that? Yeah, it kind of keeps the girl.
Yeah, and then aliens. Yeah. I mean, I didn't think it was like the best thing ever. I mean, it's not anything close to Cloverfield. I mean, I love Cloverfield, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Did you see the one where they were in space and playing with time travel?
No, I've
Because
heard it's
that's-
so bad that I'm not watching it. I haven't watched it yet.
Which one's that?
It's the
There was another
Cloverfield Paradox.
It was what is happening? Why am I watching this?
I've
What are
missed
they
that
even
completely.
doing?
I only remember the first one and maybe the second one.
Right.
I loved the first one. I loved it.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was the first found footage. Wasn't that the one where it was like?
It was more.
Yeah, it was like a guy's walking around New York with the video camera and the aliens coming.
were attacking. Yeah.
It was the kind of getting back into the big monster movie. I mean, it was like Godzilla, but not Godzilla.
I thought that was J.J. Abrams.
I love.
Well, he's attached to it.
Some bad robot or something was.
Dan
Matt Reeves did
Trachtenberg.
The guy who did the Batman did
Yeah,
Cloverfield.
that's right. That's right. Okay, that's it.
But Abrams is attached to all of it.
I love.
In his studio.
Okay.
Bad
I
robot.
love big monster films, so Cloverfield felt so much that's just something I liked, so that's why I liked it so much. But that's really all I had to say.
I saw it in the theater, man. Good Lord. That was rough in the theater.
Didn't it come out 2014? Was it 2014?
I don't know.
I think it's quite a bit older than that.
Yeah, I'm either thinking 2012 or 2008. That's what I'm thinking right
It's
now.
pretty old, yeah. Anyway. All right, Prey. How many popcorn boxes or whatever?
I'd watch that again. I've watched.
You got something legal
I've
there?
watched all of them.
Talking about Predator 2, there's a throwback to Predator 2 at the end where she takes the Frenchman's gun, and it's the gun that Danny Glover gets from the Predator at the end of the Predator 2. So I assume that will tie into a sequel. They will explain how the Predator got there.
I just want to know that I could really get a sequel. Cause, I mean,
That's all I have to say.
Well, it'll get a sequel.
You got to leave the door open whether somebody walks through it or not. I mean, with a movie like that and a franchise like that, you can't,
but I feel like because it got so many people streamed it is why Hulu's going to be the first people I mean, I'm sure in the next few weeks they'll greenlight a sequel.
It's all about the money.
Yeah.
maybe.
It's all about the money.
As long as you're making money, I don't think it. I'm
I'd
sure
watch it
Hulu
again.
doesn't care.
Maybe they'll just bring aliens down and have them fight the Comanche the next time, and she's like the leader. How's that sound?
I'm sure somebody's already written a script for it.
It's in a vault somewhere. It stays there.
Maybe that script was in the garage that Anne Hesh crashed into, and it burned up and incinerated, and we will never have to see that movie.
Fingers crossed.
Okay, also, what we watch?
Whoa. popcorn boxes.
I told you two.
Okay,
You interrupted me
two.
twice.
Lee?
I don't know what two out of what?
Nobody knows. Just throw a number out there.
Okay. Oh my God.
Out of 5?
What
What are you talking
Popcorn
about?
boxes out of 35. Since it's arbitrary, I'll just make something up.
Okay, very good.
Would you rent that movie once and be like, that's awesome, take it back, and then a month
I'd watch
later
it
go
again.
back and rent it again?
I'd watch it again.
Okay, there you go. That's all I need to hear.
Out of 5, I'm gonna give it probably just 3. Just 3 rentals. That's gonna be it for me.
Three's good. Three's not bad.
I watched it.
I'm one of
So
those that-
I don't need to rent it. So
There you
0
go.
rentals.
0. All right, we will just, Roses discontinue the popcorn boxes, for Christ's sakes. All right. All right. I watched...
Hey.
I'll start off because I've been editing 2 documentaries and working, and I've actually been so busy editing that instead of playing something in the background, I've actually had to cut the TV off to keep from being distracted. So, but I did watch. I watched 2 great documentaries. I watched Robin Williams, Come Inside My Mind. Sad as it could be. It's just that we just love that guy. Who doesn't like Robin Williams? And just the way he was, man. They're like how they would talk about him just being, quiet and calm, and then bam, when it was time to perform, he was on it. He's just an incredible dude, and to find out, that he's had diagnosed. I remember when he committed suicide, and everybody said it was depression and stuff, and it may have been, but I think a lot of that had to do with the Parkinson's and the. When Bobcat was saying the medicines and things were messing with him and giving him some information which may have led to what he ended up doing.
Yeah.
I mean, he was great in the Birdcage, so
He's great in everything, even the crappy stuff that he just took for the heck of it. I mean, it's
I saw an interview with Bobcat right after he died, and the person who was interviewing was trying to be very sensitive and said, "Did Robin ever talk about killing himself?" And Bobcat said, "We're stand-up comedians. We talk about killing ourselves every day." He's like, for 30 years, he and I talked about killing ourselves.
Did y'all watch the
It's
1
like
hour?
it's-
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's not that type of, it's more like Garrick said, it was the disease,
Yeah.
Did you guys ever watch the 1 hour photo he was
Oh,
in?
yeah.
Oh, that was
Oh, yeah.
as disturbing as it gets. And I watched it once, I think about a month ago. I'll never watch that again. I mean, it's so creepy, man.
That's good. Well, I saw that, and yeah, it's sad, man. We lost a good guy with him, and then another actually. I made it through all episodes of The Last Movie Stars. I wasn't sure. I was gonna enjoy Ethan Hawke helmed Zoom conversation. So basically, Ethan Hawke, basically, the estate of Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward's kids hired Ethan Hawke to do a documentary about Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward. It's on HBO Max.
Yeah.
Well, Paul Newman basically had done all these tapes his whole life. They had done this huge interview. He had these box of tapes of interviews of Paul Newman. Well, Paul Newman burns him one day. That's it. And that was the end, and nothing ever happened. And then one of Paul Newman's daughters found the transcripts of all these. So they thought basically the history was gone, right? It was over. And in one box somewhere in some garage or somewhere, they found the transcripts to all these tapes that Paul Newman burned. So during the pandemic, Ethan Hawke helmed George Clooney and Laura Tierney and all these people to be these people in these transcripts, and they redid this killer biography of Joanne and Paul Newman's life together up until their death using these transcriptions. And like George Clooney is talking like he's Paul Newman, and he sounds like Paul Newman. It's amazing. And it's like a 5-part documentary. It's on HBO Max, and it's during the pandemic. So George Clooney, all of them are doing it via Zoom, and they're taking their dialogue, and they're placing, Paul Newman's movies and Joanne's movies and just their whole life together on this really cool documentary. I would check it out. It's long and drawn out.
So you said that Paul Newman destroyed all the tapes?
Yes, Paul Newman. So and I can't remember
intentionally.
Yes. His lawyer or somebody, one of his buddies says, we need to make you an autobiography. It was all recorded for an autobiography. And then one day, Paul Newman just decided he didn't want anybody to see him, so he burned them. But the lawyer or somebody, the guy that was writing it had transcribed the tapes, and they find this box full. So they don't have the tapes of Paul Newman talking.
I understand what you're saying.
Well, isn't that crazy, right?
It is interesting, but it also kind of, I guess, would fly straight in the face, like against his wishes, because you got to kind of feel like if he wanted this out, he wouldn't have thrown him in a barrel and lit him on fire. So to go back, I think it's a little bit strange, although I guess it would be really interesting to see, but at the same time, there's obviously a reason that he didn't want it seen. Right? So part of you's like, do you kind of feel bad about watching it?
Not at all. It's Paul Newman.
Well, I know, but you know, we don't know these people, right? You know what I mean? We think we do because we see them on screen or whatever. So
you're right.
That's odd.
I mean, you're right.
And who knows where he was mentally? He may have been having some.
Well, he was he burned them right after he got sober, which makes sense. But whatever, and you can watch it or you cannot watch it.
I got you.
But
That's just very interesting.
I thought it was fantastic. I thought the way they did it, because at first I'm like, so the first shot is Ethan Hawke on Zoom, and he starts zooming George Clooney, and I'm like,
what is
this is Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward's story. Like, why are we doing zooms? Why didn't they just wait and do this later? But the way they did it was pretty interesting.
Nice.
And then I watched. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna wait on that. Go ahead. I'm good. That's all I watched.
Okay. I went ultra today on everything I watched. I didn't watch anything old. I didn't. Most of what I saw I did not like. I did like one thing quite a bit though. The first thing I saw on, I think Lee last week or week before, I talked about The Gray Man.
Yeah.
It's basically
PG-13 Commando.
It's Mission Impossible without Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
And like a worse storyline if that's possible.
Yeah. I sat there and I watched. I don't even think I watched the whole thing actually. I think I got up sort of halfway.
It's like the movie was neutered.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know, man.
Yeah, that's the plot of Commando. But you don't have Tom Cruise actually do it.
Right.
Like it's all just It's me. It has no balls.
I just didn't. It's a nothing. It's a nothing burger.
Yeah, and it costs $200 million.
You're right. It's got no balls.
It's neutered. Wanted to watch Neil Gaiman's The Sandman. That's on Netflix.
The comic,
right.
Based on the comic.
Right. And look, it looks great, and I love the care that he puts into his stories and the originality of the way his stories are. Like American Gods, I really enjoyed. It's just not for me. I just a couple episodes in, I was just like, fuck, because I knew I was gonna have to watch it all because my wife was out of work for a week. And this is what I did for a few days, was come home and watch The Sandman. It had some cool parts, and like I say, it looks cool, and it has a neat mythology and all that, but it's, all in all, I was just like, whatever. So, I don't get into watching Apple TV very often. I have it. And I went and had seen a trailer for the Blackbird, which is based on a true story. It's a true crime about a guy in the late 90s. He's a young drug dealer, gets busted. He had a bunch of machine guns and cocaine in his house, and kind of gets tricked into taking this plea and gets a much larger sentence than his lawyers and everybody kind of told him that he would. And he goes to this prison and is recruited by the FBI to be transferred to like a psychiatric prison to try and befriend this guy that has he is admitted to doing some crimes, some like child rape and murder crimes, but they're having problems with his confessions and finding bodies and all this. And look, when you say it all like that, it sounds like the most outlandish story. Like if I tried to come up with that just writing it, it's like, this doesn't make any sense. Right, but it is based on a true story. Taron Egerton, who was the main character, Eggsy from the original Kingsman, is the young dude that goes into the prison. Paul Walter Hauer, who played Richard Jewell, is this really creepy, supposed like serial killer. He's very, very good in this. Greg Kinnear is in it.
Greg Kinnear.
But what
He's still alive?
But what I didn't expect, and I didn't know until I got into it, until he came on screen, was Ray Liotta. Popping on screen, white hair, white beard, grizzled. He's supposed to be this ex-police officer, the father of this kid, and he's got terrible health, and like in the series he has a stroke, and he's just like fucking grizzled as it comes. And he was very, very good. But it was very haunting, you know. It was like, it's only like 7 episodes, I think. And after like the 3rd episode, it was like, you know, at the end of it, it was like Ray Liotta and his, you know, he died, R.I.P. or whatever. It was pretty good. It's a little slow in some parts, but like the last couple episodes, it really ramps up. And knowing, you know, that it is based on some fact and all this, it was very interesting. The guy that went to prison, he wrote an autobiography, and that's where this movie kind of came from. Really cool. I mean, and it's not super long. That's the reason I wanted to get it done. It's 7 episodes, and that's it. So the Blackbird. The best thing I saw, though, was our guy, Paul Thomas Anderson.
Finally.
We've been waiting, and I don't know why, I just kind of forgot about Licorice Pizza.
Well, I was waiting. I had kept waiting to
see it on something like HBO Max or whatever, and I actually had to kind of dig around on Prime and saw that it was on there, and I was like, oh.
It's free?
Yep.
On Prime?
With the subscription.
Get the freak out of here. Really?
Yeah.
I just...
What?
Nothing. I just said get the freak out of here after using...
After I said fuck about
After I
15
said
times.
72 F-bombs in this episode.
It looked and felt to me like an older Paul Thomas Anderson movie. Like a lot of shades of Magnolia, I felt like. And it's just a lot of these intertwined odd stories in this time in California, which takes place in the late 70s. And
you're kidding me. I would have been able to watch this movie.
You could have watched it, yeah.
No, wow.
Lots of like, there's a ton of awesome like little cameos. Like you hear like, you don't even see him, but you hear John C. Reilly's voice like in this. It's kind of this thing. I don't know, like a teen kind of job fair sort of thing.
Yeah, I didn't understand what that really was.
I wasn't really, but you definitely hear John C. Reilly's voice as like this Frankenstein off in the corner, and George
Yeah, I remember
DiCaprio,
that.
George DiCaprio, Leo's dad is in this. Is like this creepy like mattress salesman. Maya Rudolph, of course, is in this. Tom Waits, who was very creepy the last time I saw him in that Domino movie, was fucking great in this for the small amount of time he was in it. Sean Penn as well. I didn't even know these guys were in it. And, you know, you just kind of get into it. And a lot of it doesn't really connect. It's very, like...
Episodic.
Good word. Right.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the Safdie boys of the Jim fucking movie with Sandler. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, one of the brothers is in this. Like, towards the end plays this politician. He was very good. It's just it's very strange.
But it's good.
Well, Bradley Cooper, he has this small role, is just... He's like the Tom Cruise of Magnolia.
Yeah. But he's playing a real guy.
Yeah, but he is. Yeah, I'm with Barbra Streisand. You know, the times he's in this, he is fantastic. But I think my favorite thing about this movie was Cooper Hoffman, because you want to talk about effortless. The kid just, like his dad. His dad never seemed like he was ever trying. He just would do. Yeah. That's how his son was in this for me, man. He just, I mean, from the first time he speaks, and he's in it a ton, he was fantastic.
Yeah.
I will watch it tonight. I don't know. Yeah, I just kind of got away from it.
I can't believe Doug and I have seen it, and Garrick hasn't seen it.
Yeah, what is happening?
Well, man, that's the same thing, man. I've been really busy lately. I mean, really busy, and I guess there's a couple of things like Stranger Things or something. I have a small list of watch, but I actually am not working on it. I'm gonna sit down and watch it, and that's on that list that really never gets around to getting done.
So
Right.
you watched this also, Lee.
I did.
What were your takes from?
I pretty much everything you said. It's very episodic. It's very, you know, like Lucille Ball, actress plays Lucille Ball for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's very like if you leave, you have to pause it. If you leave the room, you come back, there's going to be a completely different plot.
Yeah.
You know, they sell water beds at one point. They, you know, it does hammer home the fact that John Peters is always a douchebag. The movie producer John Peters. If you can find the documentary about the unmade Tim Burton Superman movie, just hearing Kevin Smith talk about John Peters it's worth the price of the documentary.
Yeah.
And just the way Bradley Cooper plays him, he's such a douchebag, and I have to assume that he knows him, and he was like, I'm just gonna do it, you know, because he's. But it's very good. It's very sort of like as that sort of that 70s movies like I fucking blanked on it. Never mind. Let's skip that. But it's a very. It feels like a movie that could have been made in the 70s.
Yeah.
You know, like sort of when Altman and all those guys like Hal Ashby were making movies, like it has that sort of feeling to it.
Did Paul Thomas Anderson do There Will Be Blood?
Yeah.
Oh, I freaking love that movie. Alright, maybe I'll give it a watch because I love There Will Be Blood. So
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's a love story between these two really weird people. And I can't remember her name. Her last name. Haim.
Yeah.
She's a musician. And she was great, too. I don't want to leave her out like she wasn't killing it in all of her scenes, because she was. It's just it's a very unique movie. It's hard to, like, I can't really, I think of his work, it reminded me most of Magnolia because it's more about the time than it is about what's going on in the stories. You know, like Magnolia, like it's about like the late 90s and
it's a hangout movie.
Yeah, this
it's not a, you know.
It's just, I don't know, man. I'll be interested to to see what you have to say about it, Garrick.
I've always heard about how
I'll watch it
Tarantino
tonight.
and Paul Thomas Anderson, they sort of compete with one another.
Yeah.
Like they kind of view each other as like he's like nobody else is their competition. Like Tarantino and PTA, they're each other's competition.
They used to go out and do Fiona Apple in her autobiography wrote that PT and Quentin would go out, they'd all do a bunch of blow, and she would have to leave them because they would
talking about dialogue and stories.
Yeah, just being very catty to each other.
And it's almost like he saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and was like, all right, motherfucker.
There is at the heart of this something to exactly that, and I felt it when I was watching the movie. I was
it's like,
damn,
okay,
man, is this like his kind of take on like a similar time period and a similar kind of alternate reality universe?
Right.
But of course it's not that. It doesn't have the violence or anything like that, but it definitely has that kind of feel out. That's definitely spot on.
Oh, I'll check it out. Well, now it's on Prime, I have no excuse. Yeah.
You're right.
Well, I'm not going to Kung Fu tonight because we're running late, so maybe I'll have time tonight to do it. Alright. What about you, Red?
So first thing I watched was this movie from 2012 called Project X, and I gotta explain what it's about because if I get into it, then you'll never have an idea. It's about these three kids named Thomas Cub, Costa, and JB, and it's about this guy named Thomas Cub, and it's his birthday, and this Costa guy is trying to throw the greatest party of all time at his house. And obviously, I mean, it's very predictable. You know, Thomas Cub's the one who's like, he's like scared of his dad. He doesn't want anything to get messed up, and Costa's just like that.
What did you say this is called?
Project X.
Project
Yeah, Project
X. Okay. I thought you were saying Product X.
Oh, no.
Like you've been using.
And it's very, like, the characters are very predictable. Like, Thomas Cub's scared of his dad, doesn't want anything to get messed up, and Costa's patting him on the back like, it's going to be fine, I got people that's going to help this. But, I mean, I think all y'all would freaking hate this movie. I mean, it's it's more of like a teenage movie. I mean, but it is probably the craziest movie I've ever seen. It's completely done in found footage. I mean, the ending is probably one of the craziest endings I've ever seen. I mean, it's really good, but, I mean, you guys would hate it. I don't recommend it for, like, you guys.
You recommend it for younger people?
Yeah, younger people. Then...
And then?
I totally forgot what else I watched. Cause most of the other stuff... Oh, never mind. I saw this one all over Letterboxd, and so I checked it out. It is... I don't know when it came out, but it's Drive with Ryan Gosling.
Wow.
And now that I think about it, after it, I had to watch Baby Driver again. I mean, they're...
Whoa.
Slow him down.
Stay with Drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're
entering a world of... we want to know what you
Drive
because Drive
is
important to us.
Is something that we have talked quite a
did a
bit
whole
about.
episode.
Yeah.
I freaking loved Drive.
Yeah! Woo!
And then after that, I watched Baby Driver to make sure, just to see which one I liked more, and I love Drive way more than Baby Driver.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
That's because Baby Driver is terrible.
One of them is epic. One of them is not.
One of these movies is doing its own thing. One of these movies ain't not the same.
Yeah, I really, really liked it. I mean,
Jumped into a musical there.
it feels like it's so action packed. It doesn't feel like slow at any times. And it really builds his character. I mean, Ryan Gosling's character might say like 10 lines the entire film, and it's.
Do you know who directed that?
Yeah, I know it. Hold on.
He doesn't know who directed.
I bet he can pronounce his name better than you can.
That's what one of the things I was going to talk about.
This is a competition.
I know he's definitely, he's done a lot of stuff, or he's done
some stuff, yeah.
Hold on, I got this.
Neon Demon.
Oh, I've never watched that movie.
This guy's like one of our favorites.
I know.
He's one of my favorites.
I've watched one of his movies. What was it?
Nicholas Winding Refn.
I watched Bronson.
Bronson's good.
So that's probably the only movie I watched from him.
You're still too young to watch Too Young to Die. to die old or too old to die young. So,
Winding?
what did I say?
Winding?
So,
Fuck, man.
what
You were worse than I mean, that was further off than I even thought you were possible of being. It's fine.
Yeah.
Nicholas Winding Refn is Winding.
That's what he gets
Refn.
from having a pretentious fucking name anyway.
It's not his fault.
It is not. When you meet him and you have cocktails with him, ask him if that's the name his mother gave him. I bet $1 million it isn't. I bet it's like Nicholas Bob. Like Nicholas Grant. And he's like, well, that's stupid. I'm gonna be Nicholas Winding Refn. Nicholas Winding Refn. I'm goddamned if I'm gonna be making movies.
I don't think it's Winding.
I'm not making pretentious
I'm
movies
pretty
being called
sure
Nicholas Grant.
It's Winding.
Okay, Winding.
But Drive, I mean, it probably has one of the best soundtracks I've ever seen on a movie. I mean, but then for my final
Hey,
movie,
so real fast though.
Yeah.
Hey, I haven't seen any like news on this new Maniac cop he's doing.
I don't think it's happening.
Really? You think it's so? Yeah, I haven't seen any news on him at all. Ed Brubaker.
This sounds terrible. I know Larry Cohen was not happy with anything about it, and after he passed away, I was like, well, maybe that will streamline the process. But it's been like 2 years.
Yeah, right. Well,
I think he talked about it on our Drive episode.
Yeah, and Ed Brubaker.
He was supposed to co-direct it with John Hyams, the action movie director.
Yeah.
And he's directed like 3 movies since then.
Yep, and Ed Brubaker, the writer of Too Old to Die Young,
The comic book writer,
the comic guy, he's moved on. He's doing comic books for Image. Like, I don't know, maybe it fell on the wayside. Anyway, go ahead, River.
It's a shame. I would have loved to have seen it. I would love to have just seen HBO presents Maniac Cop.
Oh yeah.
yeah. Well, after Drive, I mean, I feel like watching it had to live up to Drive, and now I freaking hate Baby Driver. Now I can't. I mean, it was probably in my top 10 like a year ago, and now it's not even probably top 100. I mean, but
That's what we like to hear, River.
but
Yes.
then I watched. Oh, sorry.
You're growing up before our eyes, little cub.
But then I watched probably a movie that's worse than Plan 9. It's I totally forgot I even watched it. And then it is called Velocipaster. It's about this.
I'm just gonna go ahead and stop you right there. It's fine. We don't need to even. I think we're good.
No, I know. Give up the. All right, you got 1 minute to sum that movie up.
So it's about this guy who's a pastor that turns into dinosaurs and fight ninjas.
I think it's great. It's the next Trumbo movie. All right, Lee, what you watch?
I'm gonna, since we've been doing the show for 3 hours, I'm gonna fire through mine. I watched Rapid Fire, the Brandon Lee movie.
Oh, right.
Yes.
92.
First thing I ever saw him in.
Right, exactly. I have not seen it since VHS, like since I rented it. I've not seen it in a very long time.
Yeah.
This movie was much cooler than I remember. Powers Booth plays a cop named Mace Ryan, whose office is in a bowling alley. Like, I could have just watched a movie about Powers Booth's character, and Brandon Lee is super cool in it.
Yeah.
You know, I think because, you know, you had like Van Damme, Steven Seagal, there was like a glut of action movie guys in the early 90s. I think it just kind of got lost. You know, but a very cool movie. And a movie I was going to watch about a month ago when James Caan died was Rollerball, which also just popped up on Prime. And I thought I'd seen it before, because I guess I'd just seen bits of it on TV. And I watched it, and I realized I had never seen Rollerball before in its entirety. And that is one of the most 70s movies ever. I was thinking about those sort of science fiction movies that came out in between Planet of the Apes and Star Wars, like Logan's Run.
Yeah.
You know, they're all sterile. Like, what Star Wars got right, how it looks, everything in space looks dirty, like, like everything looks lived in, you know. Nothing in Rollerball looks lived in. Like, James Caan is wearing like a cowboy hat, and he's doing a Texas accent, which was not great. And he's wearing like a cowboy hat, like a pimp hat almost, and like a onesie. And that's just what he walks around in the movie. And it's not a bad movie. The stunts in it are great. Like when they're playing the rollerball game, somebody went to the hospital. There's a couple times where people just get hit by a motorcycle. And I was just like, oh shit. Like, hopefully that guy got paid a lot of money. But it's just, like, River, I don't know if River could have just, because it's such a 70s movie. It's like a 70s version of the future, It almost seems like now it would be in a parody of a science fiction movie.
Yeah.
Like if there was an Austin Powers movie in the future, it would look like Rollerball. And it just, it's not bad. It's not bad. Like I said, it's got good, like a lot of movies like Westworld, like that, they have really cool ideas. That's what science fiction movies were about before Star Wars, the sort of adult ideas of the future, But, and it was, like I said, it was okay, Well, am I dying to watch it again? Not really.
Yeah.
But,
you ever see the remake?
I've never seen the remake. With I think LL Cool J's in it, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know. Is it Hugh Jackman?
Maybe.
Or is it The Rock?
It's somebody. It
could really be
It was
any
LL
of
Cool J, actually. It was.
Okay.
But other than that, I watched another movie from the 70s called Framed with Joe Don Baker, which he made right after Walking Tall. Which I almost want to send you the stunt. Like, it has a stunt in it that is looks so, like, if you did it today, you would go to jail. Like, they just drove a car in front of a train, and the guy gets out at the last second. It's a revenge movie. He gets framed for a crime. He gets out, and when he's in prison, he befriends this mob boss. And when he gets out, he just kills everybody. It's a 70s revenge movie. But you could tell there was a high sense of fuck it when they were making it. They were just like, we're going to do this. Fuck it. And this train stunt, like when the car explodes and the guy ducks down below the car and it goes over his head, you're like, holy shit, that could have went terrible.
Yeah.
It could have been like Twilight Zone, the movie. And, but it was a cool movie. It's the movie he made it's the movie he made instead of Walking Tall Part 2. And actually, and I watched The Black Phone, which came on Peacock with Ethan Hawke.
Okay. What'd you think about it?
It's it's all right. I wouldn't watch it again. It's got kind of a.
How in the fuck do you keep a kid in the basement of the house that you and your brother are sharing? Your brother is supposed to be soundproof. Come on!
Because he says something like, no one can hear you down here. And, I'm never going to watch it again. But, and I didn't pay to watch it. Because Bonnie subscribes to Peacock, and I don't. So,
It's her fault.
But like I said, it almost like you could tell it's based on a short story. Like it has like that sort of, and it's all right.
So were the ghosts of the other kids helping him?
Yeah. They're helping him.
Okay.
But it's almost so.
Ruined it for you.
No.
It's almost. What a year for Ethan Hawke. But this one, I really liked it. Because I like stuff like that. Like, it's almost like a true crime. But it's definitely. I think it's Scott Derrickson's worst. But it's. I liked it more than Dad liked it. But yeah, it's. Nah, it's whatever. How did the brother that night where he's sitting there in the chair with the belt?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How do you not?
Is Ethan Hawke's character supposed to be gay?
I don't know. That's the only scene that I was like, oh god, this is gonna be good. Is when he's got that mask on, his fat ass is sitting in that chair with his belt on, and he's like this, man. I'm like, ew, that's kind of creepy.
Yeah,
but
I thought his character was supposed to be sort of like closeted gay, because he's kind of very Rip Torn-esque.
Yeah.
My gosh, the stupidest.
When he says certain things, he's like, ooh, that'll be naughty. It's like, oh.
Yeah, and then he also, but I think that also had to do with his quirks, like, the upstairs, Steiner, because you've got an exit. And because he was the only kid not doing what the normal kids do, the killer, I did like that, the nuances.
Yeah.
Where,
I mean, it's got some cool stuff. It's not a bad movie.
The
It's not terrible.
stupidest part, I mean, it has Scott Derrickson written all over the scenes.
who's Scott Derrickson?
He did Sinister.
They did, Sinister,
I mean,
Doctor Strange.
yeah, Doctor
he's
Strange.
the director of this
yeah.
movie?
And
I thought Stephen King's son did.
no, he wrote it. He wrote it.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, the stupidest thing about it, I mean, the little girl with the dreams that can predict where everybody is, the stupidest thing. I mean, but you could tell by the clips where, like, in her dreams, they're shot just like Sinister, just like the clips where, I mean, the kids are killing them. I mean, it's written all over them, but it's the stupidest thing I have ever seen somebody do in a movie. A girl who dreams where all these kids disappear. I mean, it might be the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
That's a Stephen King thing, I believe.
Is it dumber
It's a lot.
than a
Yeah.
fucking
Very
priest dinosaur that fights ninjas?
It's not.
Is it dumber than a Velocipaster?
Yeah, no. It's.
All right.
Is it dumber than Baby Driver?
Was Baby Driver the last Tom Spacey? I mean,
Kevin Spacey.
Kevin Spacey movie in
Tom.
theater?
Who the fuck is Tom Spacey? Yeah, wait, was that the last Spacey?
I think it was.
I think so. I think it was the last movie in theaters.
Yeah.
Yes, I think yes.
I
And
think
it wasn't much time after that I called you guys from his house and he was going to read my script and I got really tired and slept on the sofa.
Yeah. Woke up. Yeah. Yeah, you did.
What a classic! That may still be the best promo we've ever done for this show.
We did. We met some good ones, but that one was very good.
Whatever. So what's the story with that guy? I know we're running late. We need to get off here. But does anybody know where he is? He produced.
I don't know. I know Netflix wants him to pay the money that it costs for them to stop filming Game House of Cards and they sort of change it to his wife, the wife character, Robin Wright Penn being the maker. Whatever that costs, it's like $30 million. They want him to pay that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still facing charges. I'm pretty sure he's still in the court. Like,
he came out with a commercial where he was like, "Hey, we can all get reset."
Oh yeah, that was creepy.
Remember that? And then
They were sitting on like a park
yeah,
bench.
dude, yes.
Fucking God.
Yeah.
That was one of the last Kevin.
There'll always be 7. There'll
Yeah,
always
yeah,
be
yeah.
some of his
Yeah,
great
yeah.
roles. I mean, look.
he was in 7.
God damn it, River.
I don't remember seeing him. I watched Heaven like 2 months ago.
He's John Doe. Now,
That's how long ago that was.
now the only movies he's doing it's John Doe's Hole.
I totally thought that was somebody else.
He's doing the seven deadly sins to make money, to pay Netflix back.
Can we just, let's just, I think.
The 7 deadly sins.
I always think his best role would be unusual.